Welcome to the show, everybody. It's the Crypto Lark. Today we're going to be talking about USDT, everyone's favorite digital representation of the US dollar. Before we get into all the controversies surrounding USDT, a quick shout out, as always, to everyone who has been hitting that like button, and of course, everybody who has been subscribing to the channel. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, make sure you hit that button down below to stay up to date with all of the latest in the crypto space. Furthermore, this is, of course, not professional financial advice. This is just a dude talking about cryptocurrencies on the internet. Let's get into it. Now, USDT is used by people to be their safe place during the storms of cryptocurrency land. But are they actually taking on risk while trying to avoid risk? The idea here is that USDT is backed up by actual US dollars. Basically, the white paper reads this: the corresponding total of USD held in our reserves is proved by publishing the bank balances and undergoing periodic audits by professionals. It's a scam! Admiral Akbar, I haven't seen you in forever. How you doing? How's the family? Yeah, they're good, Lark. Thanks for asking. Okay, we're going to check in with the Admiral again a bit later. But is a very problematic thing. Now, on the face of it, this seems great. However, when you realize that USDT hasn't published a bank statement in forever, not to mention the fact that they haven't undergone an audit in an equally long time, you start to worry. You guys were promising to do this. Why'd you stop? Now, back in September, they did do a mini audit, which is actually a memorandum, not an audit. In fact, at multiple times during the reading of this, Friedman LLP says, this is not an audit. This is not intended to be considered to be an audit. We did not actually see the information. Right? We only saw screenshots of accounts. We didn't actually verify. So you guys can take that for what you will. There are a lot of inconsistencies with that audit. That means it wasn't really an audit at all. Now, the biggest critic of Tether and of Bitfinex, because they're connected, we're going to talk about that in a second, is a guy on Twitter called Bitfinex. Nobody knows who he is. That's, of course, problematic in itself. Who the heck is this guy? What is his axe to grind? Did he just get screwed over by Bitfinex and is out for revenge? Is he from a rival exchange? Who knows? But he's out there, and he is constantly tracking what is going on. Now, the guys over at Friedman LLP used to list Bitfinex as a customer. We have extensive knowledge of our industry. Bitcoin Investment Trust and Bitfinex are people that we audit. Now they don't. They have removed that from their website, so they're not doing business together anymore. Now, the plot does thicken considerably because J.L. Vandevelde is the CEO over at Tether. Great. You say, why does that matter, Lark? Well, he is also the CEO of Bitfinex. Now, at this point, you might not see any wrongdoing or any inkling of wrongdoing. He doesn't list Tether on his experience on his LinkedIn. Maybe he just forgot. I mean, if I was the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company, I might just forget to list that on my LinkedIn. It's a common mistake. It happens all the time, right? Duh. Now, the Paradise Papers revealed the connections. Before the release of the Paradise Papers, his smile and face was nowhere near the Tether website, nor any of these other guys. Only after they were caught did they say, oh yeah, by the way, I am the CEO of Tether, but I still don't put it on my LinkedIn. Now, what that showed is that they were indeed owned by the same people. Now, that's not problematic of itself, except when you start to realize all of the accusations that have been leveled against Bitfinex, in particular relation to using USDT. Now, look, maybe it is legit. Maybe they haven't been audited because they did do crimes in the past, but now they're trying to be legit. I don't know. I don't buy it. But the reality is Bitfinex has been accused of money laundering, has been accused of massive market manipulation, been accused of bribing all kinds of people, and so on and so forth. And obviously, we don't have the evidence of that. But certainly looks like what has happened. Now, the Tether printing press has been in absolute high gear. Last week they printed $400 million worth of Tether. Click. $400 million new dollars. If that's backed up by real money, that's not a problem. They can print Tether all day. The problem is nobody knows if that's real money or if they are just like America. It's funny, it's the USDT, of course. If they are just printing money with nothing to back it up. And because there's been no audits and there's no public banking statements, the suspicion is that it's probably exactly what they're doing, which is incredibly problematic. Now, currently, they've got their balance listed as 2.248 billion Tether in existence. Also a tiny amount of Euro Tether as well. Over on CoinMarketCap, unsurprisingly, Tether is trading for $1. Now, that does vary slightly from time to time as demand goes up or down for it. But the circulating supply and the total supply do not match, of course, what Tether themselves are saying is out there. Are they trying to keep it so that Tether seems to be under-circulated? It's hard to know. We don't actually, the people behind CoinMarketCap aren't transparent. Is this an API problem? Maybe. Is this something fishier? Possibly. Don't have the answers, unfortunately, on that one. Now, if you look at the Tether markets and try to keep a perspective of the daily volume of Tether, currently it's $2.638 billion a day of Tether is being used. So people are getting in and out of Tether all the time. Now look, the biggest exchanges using it, OKX, Binance, Huobi, HitBTC, Bittrex, Poloniex. Actually, Bitfinex is down at number 13. And the plot thickens again. Bitfinex, the USD on Bitfinex is all USDT. Why is that not accurately represented? Why does Bitfinex get to say that they have real USD when it's actually USDT? Or at least it's not provably USD. Probably USDT. If that's the case, that inflates the daily volume of USDT massively by about another $1 billion a day, which is pretty big. Pretty big, guys. You can see the major pairings here are with USD, and that's USDT. So we're actually looking at 3 billion plus a day volume for USDT. Now keep in mind the 24-hour volume in the last 24 hours was $33.5 billion. This is approximately 10% of the daily trading volume happens in Tether. Makes you understand that this is a systemic risk to the ecosystem. Now, if you have a look here at the rich lists, the biggest holders of Tether are, of course, the exchanges, but that's not the exchange's money. That's your money if you use USDT. That is just the accounts where it's held, but this is all customer money, guys. All customer money. Obviously, Binance currently being the top exchange, one of the biggest users. 6 million customers plus over at Binance. Considering that there are so many people signed up over there, that's a lot of people putting their money at risk on Binance alone. Let's not even talk about any of the other exchanges. It's a scam! Admiral, you're back! So, let's try and answer the question. Is Tether a scam? Well, let's try and think about some ideas here. Could you imagine a situation where everybody took all their tethers and tried to cash out tomorrow? I don't. I really don't see that happening. I mean, obviously, there's a difficulty of everybody trying to cash out of their tethers, but I really feel like if they went and said, hey, can we have our tethers, please? Or can we have our dollars in exchange for tethers? That's not going to happen. In fact, withdrawals are highly problematic. It's a $50,000 minimum. Massive banking restrictions according to where you can get that. Basically, it's only set up for exchanges to cash out, and it's slow. It takes about a week. Probably because they don't have the money for millions of dollars at a time, so they actually have to cash out some assets in order to be able to pay that when it does happen, would be my suspicion, of course. Now, that sounds pretty scammy to me, Lark. Well, that sounds pretty scammy to me, Admiral. But let's look at the next problem. And that is, let's play devil's advocate here for a second, actually. Is this all legit? Does it just look fishy from the outside? You know, those 4 orders for $100 million worth of Tether last week. Was that all just from big exchanges like Binance? Right? And maybe the guys over at Tether are locked up by non-disclosure agreements. So they're not able to talk about it. They can't come out and say, hey, look, we know there's all this FUD around USDT, but it's cool, you know. You would think they'd at least be able to come out and say, hey guys, look, we realize there's concerns. This is all legitimate. We're under non-disclosure agreements to talk about our clients, but we can assure you that everything is on the up and up. We're just locked by NDAs, but they don't even say that. That would be the easiest thing in the world to say. They don't say that. Now look, let's play devil's advocate one more time here. Why would the exchanges willingly sign up to be using all this USDT if they had no evidence that was actually backed up by something? I don't know. I don't really buy that. Because, to be honest, it's just greed, guys. It doesn't matter for the exchanges if you guys get burned. Why? Because every day they're making their percentage off of that USDT trading, and you can see it's massive. It's 10% of the daily market. You would be crazy to be an exchange and not be part of that. You'd be losing so much money every day. And if it does crash, not your problem. This is cryptocurrency land. Everything's risky. You guys get screwed. Who cares? You know what? We're going to make money as you all try and cash out of your USDT as it races to the bottom, if it does prove to be a fraud. So don't think the exchanges are here to protect you guys. They are not. They are not, okay? That sounds pretty scammy to me, Lark. Yeah, that sounds pretty scammy to me, Admiral. Now, look. You have to come back to the definition of a scam. A scam is, we take your money, we screw you, basically. This is not quite a scam in the way that people like to scream from the tops of the mountains, it's a scam! It's never quite that simple, guys. This is a very complex picture right here. There is the potential that everything is on the up and up. It's just a very opaque organization. Possible. You know, you're dealing with an exchange based in Hong Kong, which is Bitfinex. You're dealing with an organization which is based, I believe, in the British Virgin Islands, which is, of course, Tether. All these links were, of course, only proven after they were forced to come out by the release of the Paradise Papers. Not to mention, of course, there's been no publishing of bank statements. There have been no audits for nearly a year. The audit that did happen was not an audit at all. In fact, the accountants that did it were very quick to point out, no, this was not an audit. This was just us talking to them about their accounts and creating a memorandum for them. With all that information in mind, a lot of people are saying this could be Mt. Gox 2.0 for cryptocurrencies. And that was a scam, right? Well, yeah, that was a definite scam. The thing is that with Mt. Gox, a lot of the same stuff that Bitfinex is accused of, market manipulation, money laundering, creating fake money, etc., was also thought to be happening. It was proven to be happening at Mt. Gox. Was also thought to be happening at Bitfinex at around the same time. Bitfinex just never got caught doing it back then. And even though the suspicion has always been there, no one's come up with the proof. And it's incredibly, incredibly hard to prove these things. Now look, some of this stuff is illegal. If the money laundering proves to be true, well, that's illegal. Market manipulation in cryptocurrencies, immoral, not necessarily illegal. Even the selling of tethers promising $1 but not actually having $1. Well, you're buying a digital token. What do you expect? We're not, saying it's always going to be worth $1. We're just saying that we probably have reserves that might make it worth $1. It's all very problematic. Essentially, what I see with Tether is that it is a massive systemic risk to the entire ecosystem because the price of Bitcoin has been being manipulated very potentially by the players involved here with USDT and the big exchanges. And if you think that the other big exchanges are less guilty than Bitfinex, let me introduce you to human greed, guys. Simply, they would have to say, hey, look, here we got this sweet program working. You guys want to hop on board with this? Very possible. Very possible. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying there's a lot of unanswered questions here, guys. So is it a scam? It's too opaque to say yes. But the one thing I would definitely say, and I have done with USDT personally, I never use it, and I have no plans on using it in the future. There are too many unanswered questions for me. It's something I don't want to be involved in. And I know there are a lot of people out there who like to use USDT to run to when the markets are going down. But with all these unanswered questions, you got to ask yourself, is that a risk you're willing to take? Are you willing to have your whole portfolio in USDT and then have another leak happen tomorrow where they come out and say, hey, actually, here is the evidence. How long is it going to be before someone at Bitfinex gets tired of the BS, sees what's going on, and grows a frickin' conscience? If, of course, if all of the theories prove to be true. Obviously, there is always that chance that everything is just on the up and up and everything is fine. But if all of this is a little too seedy for you, I would suggest that you use a company like Gemini or Coinbase. These two companies are both registered financial institutions who are approved to work with real US dollars. So when you buy or sell on Gemini, you're using real US dollars. You can withdraw real US dollars to your account. They do not trade in USDT. You, of course, have to ask yourself as well, why isn't anyone else trying to get a banking license? It's just easier to use USDT. If you want to use real US dollars, use Gemini or Coinbase, guys. Let me know what you think about USDT in the comments section down below, guys. Long live the blockchain, and peace out till next time.